Alright, what's up everybody, this is Sam from ROnaldo Bets. In this video I'll be doing my full card predictions and betting strategy for UFC 262. Before starting, I'll be showing the results from the past cards and throughout the year. And then I'll be moving on to all the picks and the bets, my full breakdowns, and if you wish to support the channel, stick until the end and I'll be showing you how I do it from Patreon. Alright, so real quick, I had a small loss on the last card. It was nearly half unit of loss. If I'm comparing the amount I bet, I lost 5%, which is not that significant. And yeah, it was not the best card to bet. And yeah, but I cashed on Felipe Colares, was my biggest bet, so it helped to cover a little bit of the losses. Okay, so if you are not familiar to this, I have some metrics here which shows some numbers so you guys can see my accuracies through time. I also separate these bets into high, medium and low quality bets depending on my confidence level or the quality of the bets, if there's a good returning value. I have the charts here so you guys can follow through. It's a little bit more visual, and the evolution here is through time. Alright, so if you're seeing this video from Patreon, I appreciate your support. Thank you very much. If you'd like to support the channel in the future, stick unto the end. Alright, so, and real quick, what I'm going to be doing in this video, my full card predictions and the betting strategy, so stick unto the end if you'd like to support the channel as well. Alright, so let's get into it, guys. And before starting, actually, if you don't follow me yet on Instagram, if you'd like to follow me, feel free to do it. I put the bets that I take prior to the video so you guys can see which direction I'm heading to. Not all the bets, some bets, so feel free to follow me if you're interested. Okay, and all the bets for this card as promised. Alright, so it's not in the order here, guys. Then I have more to the order of the card in the breakdowns, and I also didn't do yet the analysis for Gina Mazzani versus Priscila Cachoeira. I'll be doing that later on and I'll be adding as a comment. Okay, so Damir Ismagulov versus Rafael Alves. I'm picking Ismagulov. For now I'm not betting the fight. I'm interested maybe in Rafael Alves if people continue betting Ismagulov. Joel Alvarez versus Christos Giagos. Picking Alvarez, not betting the fight. Matt Schnell versus Rogerio Bontorin. Picking Schnell, betting Bontorin. A small bet on Bontorin. Jamie Pickett versus Jordan Wright. My biggest bet of the card on Jamie Pickett. Yeah, I'm picking and betting him. Muike Grundy versus Lando Vannata. I'm picking and betting Grundy, a small bet. Antonina Shevchenko versus Andrea. Picking Shevchenko but betting Lee. Jacare Souza versus Andre Muniz. Picking and betting Jacare. My second biggest bet of the card. Lutz versus Kevin Aguilar. Picking and betting Lutz, small bet. Shane Burgos versus Edson Barboza. Picking and betting Burgos, small bet. Beneil Dariush versus Tony Ferguson. Picking Dariush, not going to be betting the fight. Jack Hermansson versus Edmund Shabazian. Picking Hermansson, not going to be betting the fight. Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz. I'm picking Edwards. I'm interested into betting Diaz, actually. I'm waiting for people to see if people keep betting Edwards so the lines become more interesting for me. Alright, so on to the fight breakdowns. And like I said, for Gina Mazzani and Priscila Cachoeira, then you guys can check the comment section. I'll be doing a next video on that, okay? So between Ismagulov and Rafael Alves, this is an interesting fight because, guys, Ismagulov has been very dominant in his UFC career, but it was tough to see much, you know. He was not actually pressured, you know, was not challenged, basically, you know. It was pretty easy fights that he got, you know, even though it was not easy opponents, but Joel Alvarez in the first fight was probably had some jitters or something, didn't quite push the pace. The second guy, he dominated, you know, showed his good striking, but this is going to be an interesting fight because he's going to be fighting Rafael Alves, a super aggressive guy, like at least before was a super aggressive guy, then he tempered a little bit his aggression. He can be very dangerous on the offensive part, he has good power, he has good technique, you know. The thing that this guy is not the tallest and longest guy, and Ismagulov, he's 5'10", but he's very long, you know, very long limbs. So he definitely has the range for him, and he knows how to use it. He's an excellent defensive striker. You know, it's very tough to hit this guy. He has good straight shots up the middle. So he's very good on the outside, and Alves is very good on the inside. So gonna be a battle of styles. Ismagulov is a strong favorite as per the bookies. I understand why, because this guy, you know, 19-1, whereas Alves 19-9. But the lines do not show actually the true odds for this fight. And like I said in the first comment, I may bet Alves if people keep betting Ismagulov. But on my predictions to this fight, what I think gonna happen, I think it will depend a lot the style that Alves gonna bring. If Alves tries to stay all out, all in or all out, stays on the outside and jumps in and tries to out grapple Ismagulov, then gonna be interesting to see how Ismagulov gonna handle the power. If Alves gonna try to change technique for technique, he's gonna get picked apart and probably gonna get finished quite easily. So it will depend again a lot on Rafael Alves. I think he's gonna come to fight a smart fight. He has experience for that. So I don't know, guys. Probably it's Alves trying to get inside, trying to brawl. We're gonna see if Ismagulov can take, the power, can handle with that well. He probably can, and we're gonna see Ismagulov, picking Rafael Alves, surviving in the first, like making it a close match on the first round, and then picking up the pace from the second. So my pick is Ismagulov round 3 TKO. I'm interested in these prop bets. Like I said, in my odds, this is a little bit off. So I'll probably be betting Rafael Alves in a very small amount. I'll let you guys know in the comments. These are some comments that I put for this fight. Feel free to pause here. Here is my calculation for this fight. So I'll be soon moving this to Patreon, so you guys can for now know what is my head into that. What is the likelihood of each scenario in terms of the numbers here, not in American format, but in decimal format. On to the next fight, Alvarez versus Christos Giagos. Another interesting one. Alvarez has the hype. He's a tall guy, quite long, very well-rounded, as you guys can see per my rating. But Christos Giagos is a tough guy. He's also not far behind. If you guys gonna see my analysis here, the thing is that we haven't seen enough from Alvarez, in my opinion. He used it to fight. The first fight against Ismagulov, he kind of sit back, probably just not to get KO'd, and then the second he did a good job and he started fight as well. The thing is that he hasn't been challenged too much as well. So it's gonna be interesting to see, because Giagos is a tough guy. I don't think Alvarez is gonna finish him. We're gonna see Giagos trying to skirt the cage, try to explode, try to shoot a double leg. Alvarez has a good ground game, but it's not elite or anything. I think if Giagos takes him down, holds the top position, he's not gonna get submitted. So it's gonna be an interesting fight. We're gonna see. It's gonna be an interesting test for both of these guys. I think Alvarez at the end is a little bit better because he's more polished, has the height, the reach. But I'm not ruling Giagos totally out of this. What I expect here: Alvarez trying to move forward, Giagos skirting the cage, try to explode, take him down. It would be a competitive matchup. I think by my calculations, the odds are a little bit closer. I'm going Alvarez by decision. I think to me the interesting fight is gonna be this fight goes to the decision or the over-round bettings. I think it's quite tough to predict who's gonna win, even though I think Alvarez has more chance to finish Giagos than the opposite way around. But I don't give much likelihood, and I think Alvarez has more chance for the decision, but not too much, as you guys see here. So I'll be taking those two bets if they're available. These are my comments, so you guys can pause, take a look at it. I think it's worth your time. And on to my calculations. Like I said, to me it's a close fight. Alvarez by submission has more chances. Giagos by TKO, if you have a big odd there, you can maybe consider some money. But like I said, to me this goes to the decision prop bet here. On to the next fight, Schnell versus Rogerio Bontorin. Another interesting one. Bontorin, he has some credentials on Muay Thai. But I don't like much his striking, to be honest. He starts off well, but then he kind of gets too wild, on the feet. Starts getting hit quite easily. But he's an elite BJJ player. He's a very strong guy for the division, for the flyweight division. He can wrestle. He can use his strength to pull the fight to the ground. And he's an excellent grappler. Schnell is the more well-rounded guy. I was between 3 and 4 stars to rate him on the striking. He's very good. He has very fast hands. But I think he's not super sharp yet. I think he kind of lacks the timing at sometimes. He goes for some combinations when he should throw single strikes, and then he goes single strikes when he could have a combo there. So he's not yet super polished. That's why he's not getting 4 stars, but he's an excellent fighter. Good ground game. He knows what he has to do to win the fights. He's quite composed in there. He used to be a guy that starts getting hit and enters the brawl and gets KO'd. He showed some discipline in his last fight against Tyson Ham, so it's going to be interesting to see how this fight plays out. Bontorin has a chance, especially in the first round when he starts shooting. You know, if he can dominate Schnell on the ground, he may, you know, get into Schnell's head. Schnell gets weary to throw, and then Bontorin keeps shooting. Even though Schnell is a guy that he's not, he's aggressive, you know, he's not gonna be intimidated. Even if he gets taken down, he's gonna keep scrambling. He's probably gonna even try to submit Bontorin. Obviously no, but I think there's a really small chance that he does that. But I think he scrambles back up, he keeps it standing. Schnell should win this, guys, but like I said, I'm putting some small money on Bontorin just because I think the odds are not fair, you know, at least the way where they opened. I think Bontorin can also KO Schnell, you know, because he has power, even though he doesn't have much technique, like I said, you know, but he has power. He also can finish Schnell by ground and pound or even submission. So there's a chance for both of these guys to finish each other. It's a good fight. It's a high level fight. So these are my comments. You guys feel free to pause here. It's a quite weird fight to bet on prop bets as well. I'm going Schnell by decision, you know, but Schnell can KO him, you know, Bontorin can KO Schnell, especially the first two, or even submit Schnell. So, I don't know, take a look at this, guys. Actually, this is wrong. I apologize for this. I think in the round bettings, I would take this at plus 120, plus 150. This is a copy from another time. So, yeah, I think you could bet this to the decision, but be careful with that because I think they can finish each other like half 50-50, you know. Alright, so these are my calculations. Like I said, I have Schnell more chances for KO, Bontorin more for submissions, you know, plus 400 range for these guys for the decision. It's not a bad idea, okay? On to the next fight. Jamie Pickett versus Jordan Wright. Let me fix this one. I also copied and forgot here. Alright, guys, I'm back here. So between Jamie Pickett and Jordan Wright, this is my biggest bet of the card in Jamie Pickett. I'll tell you guys why. So Pickett, he's a guy that he's not the most consistent guy, you know, he's a good fighter, you know, but he's not the best fighter in the world. But he's a very long physical guy, you know. When he brings it, he's very dangerous. He can fight behind the jab, behind the 1-2. He's very long arms, long legs, can kick pretty well, has a good wrestling game. Not that easy to take down, not that easy to hold down. I think the problem with this guy is his commitment to his career. I don't know if he is a full-time fighter or not, you know. But he has so much potential. He hasn't yet shined and realized his potential, even though he's winning the Contender Series against Jonathan Patti was a pretty good one. Jordan Wright, on the other hand, you know, this guy seems to be more committed to his career, but I don't think he has the physical tools for that, you know. He's not a small middleweight or anything. But I don't know, guys. I don't trust much this guy's chin, you know. And it's not only because the last KO loss. I think I've seen some other bouts where he starts getting hit, you know. He kind of loses his composure there, doesn't know much what to do, you know, starts brawling. He doesn't have much power. You know, his kicks are pretty good, but his hands are pretty sloppy. You know, he comes in straight lines. He's not fast. He's not that powerful with the hands. Like I said, his kicks are pretty good. You know, he's not a bad grappler. He also has some flash submission, so he can explode a little bit. But guys, to be honest, against Pickett, you know, Pickett's a physical guy. I don't think Wright can KO Pickett. I think if Wright takes him down, he's not gonna be able to submit Pickett. Pickett has quite good submission defense, you know. He's a good wrestler, so it's not gonna be easy to take him down as well. And what I expect here is that Pickett uses his jab, uses his range, starts landing on Wright's chin and put him out quite easily. You know, to me, it's like mostly about the physical part on this one, you know. And like I said, you know, I don't like Wright's striking. So, I don't know, guys. To me, Pickett's a strong favorite here. In my calculation, he's like minus 200, but there is a range on everything, you know. I would put him nearly minus 300 favorite, you know. And he's at that pick and line now. I like a Pickett to finish Wright. I like Pickett either to TKO or even submit Wright. Just to me, he dominates this fight. Maybe there's something that I can't see here. Or even if Jordan brings something different to the table, which I think is going to be quite tough, you know. So my confident pick is on Jamie Pickett, my biggest bet, like I said. You know, these are my comments for you guys. Feel free to take a look at it. This is also wrong again. I apologize for this. I'll take a better look. Sometimes I forgot to update these things. But yeah, for me this to go to the decision is not likely. You know, you guys can see here. You know, if someone gonna win by decision, gonna be Pickett. You know, But yeah, if you want to bet right, in my opinion, try to take him in round one. He has more chances to finish in round one if he explode and get a lucky shot or something. So if you can get right with plus 900, something like this in round one, I may do this bet myself to try to cover. If I'm wrong about Pickett, but again, I'm quite confident on Pickett. This is my biggest bet of the card. All right, on to the next fight, Muike Grundy versus Lando Vannata. This is on their clashing styles and even in clashing personalities. Grundy is a guy that very composed, does everything pretty technically. Chin down, hands up, waits for the right time to shoot. Good straight shot, powerful guy. Compact, strong, excellent wrestler. Excellent wrestler, very good grappler, great top control, great, submission attempts. Vannata is a guy, is a very dynamic guy, very difficult to predict, creative in the cage, spins all the time, feints, and then he hits angle. I don't know, this guy is very difficult to predict, he's tough to deal with, he gets the center of the cage, starts spinning, starts feinting, super tough to deal with. So it's gonna be a clash of style, guys. I think Muike Grundy is a little bit more composed. I think if Vannata starts going too creative, he's gonna get taken down and controlled. I'm sure that Vannata knows that Grundy is an excellent grappler. He's probably defending a lot those takedowns. He's a little bit bigger than Grundy here. He's 5'10", Grundy's 5'8". Vannata is a little bit longer too, So there is a small size advantage on Vannata, even though Grundy, he's not a small lightweight. He's a bit fighter featherweight, but it's not a small lightweight. He's a competent, strong guy. But I think Vannata has a small size, and he may be able to get back up. So it's going to be interesting, especially in the first couple of rounds where Vannata is still fresh. If Grundy survives the first, I think Vannata's chances reduce quite a bit, but we're going to be seeing. But like I said, I like Grundy a little bit on this fight, not too much, a small bet for me, half percentage. So yeah, my pick is Grundy by decision. I think the safest path to victory for him, he takes Vannata down, holds him down, But he also gets some chance for the KO because he packs power. Vannata holds the chin quite up. But I think Grundy gonna finish Vannata gonna be by submission because he could land on the feet, finish on the ground, control him, get arm triangles, type of thing. Alright? So these are my comments. Feel free to pause here, guys. And these are my calculations. It's not, like I said, there's a small value on Grundy. There's value on Vannata too. If you like to bet Vannata, I don't blame you. Especially Vannata by KO. It's an interesting one. To me, the safest bet is Grundy by decision. I'm probably gonna be using this prop bet too. All right. On to the next fight: Antonina Shevchenko versus Andrea. Another good one. Yeah, I mean, Shevchenko. She's a sister of the champion, Valentina. Guys, she has good Muay Thai, but she used to have problems and girls are physical on her when they wrestle her and she has to fight from her back because opposite from her sister her sister is compact and strong. Shevchenko, Antonina, she's quite tall for the division, 5'8" or 5'9". She's long, so she's more like built to be a striker. And when she has to start grappling, she struggles a little bit on the physical part, And she's a good grappler, but not elite. Andrea Lee, I can say quite similar things about her, She likes a fight on the outside where she can trade technique for technique when she has the range, when she can shoot, make it, a wrestling match when she can. So Shevchenko has the range on her. Shevchenko has better striking, not by much, but has a little bit better, especially on the defensive part. She's tough to hit. She has good punches straight. But Andrea Lee has a good chance here, guys, because she can, get inside, can use kicks, make it like using lots of angles, and Shevchenko start shooting. Shevchenko gonna have to bring the takedown defense ready and defend and make it standing. Not gonna be that easy, because Andrea Lee, she's not the biggest and strongest flyweight there, but she's not small either. I think I could argue she has the power advantage and the strength advantage over Shevchenko. So gonna be interesting one. It's not that easy to predict, guys. I think what we're gonna see is Shevchenko try to use the striking, obviously, and Lee trying to use her wrestling. I'm giving some, even though my pick is Shevchenko, I'm giving some chances for Andrea Lee. Like I'm putting here in my calculations, she's like plus 150 dog. You can find her at plus 160. So there is a small value there because, like I said, Andrea Lee by being able to out wrestle Shevchenko, keeping the top position. Both of them are very good grapplers, so whoever is on top has the edge. Lee has the more chance to be on top, so it's a close fight. Could be close. And yeah, I'm picking Shevchenko, but I'm betting Lee. I'm also gonna be betting this to the decision if I can find these odds. This is correct now. I think this is very likely to go to the decision. So feel free to pause here, take a look at this, guys. And my calculations, yeah, Lee, I put her at plus 150, but yeah, there's a range there, so it's quite close in my calculations, and this is very likely to go to the decision. Okay, on to the next fight, ROnaldo Souza versus Andre Muniz. Another interesting fight to bet, in my opinion, because both of these guys are known to be elite grapplers. Muniz, at least to my eyes, he's only a grappler. This guy doesn't strike quite well. When he's moving back, he can throw some hooks or something, but he doesn't quite know much. He kind of does these things because people get into his range, so he's not a striker. His ground game is elite, guys. This guy is a BJJ champion. He has the physical tools also. But he's fighting Jacare here, who's a legend in the BJJ. Obviously, he's no longer a legend. He's now 42. But even at this age, guys, I think Souza has more chances to win this fight. And the reason is he has better cardio than Muniz, believe it or not. Muniz is like 12 years younger. But Souza has the better cardio, or at least he proved it to have the better cardio throughout his matches. He also, from the top, Muniz he's the superior grappler from top. If Muniz take the top position, Muniz has more chances to dominate. But I think it's gonna be tough for Muniz. He's not a good wrestler, and yeah, he's not a good striker. This is the thing. I think Souza, unless Souza comes to grapple with Muniz, which would be pretty, dumb to grapple against a guy that is only a grappler. I think Souza can keep this standing pretty easily, defending the takedowns, and he can even KO Muniz. Has a good, not bad power. He's not the best boxer too, but Muniz, he's quite sloppy, on the feet. So I think there's a chance even that Souza finishes Muniz. He has been TKO'd 2 or 3 times. So either I'm gonna be going with Jacare by decision, but there's a good chance for the knockout. Like I'm putting here, if I can get him at plus 600, I would do it. Muniz has a chance by submission, believe it or not, because if the guys take top position, he keeps pushing. He can make Jacare make a mistake, he's a long guy, so it's a tough guy to deal with. But I'm quite confident on Jacare here. This is my biggest, my second biggest bet of the card. And these are my comments for you guys. Feel free to pause here and towards your time. So these are my calculations. I have Souza more, like a stronger favorite a little bit than the odds have, than the bookies have. I'm going Souza by decision, but yeah, I think Souza is a very interesting bet in my opinion. On to the next fight, Lutz versus Kevin Aguilar. Didn't put their pictures here. It's an interesting one. I was back and forth here. I decided to take a very small bet on Lutz just because he's riding the momentum. This guy has good skills on the striking. He has more power than Aguilar. He has a better chin at this point, even though he has been KO'd once. Aguilar has been KO'd, I think, 2 or 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, both of these guys are quite compact, strong for the division. Quite long arms, both of them. Yeah, it's like the young versus the old. Not too much young versus old lion, but like the upcoming prospect versus the veteran. I can put this way. I think gonna be an interesting fight. Aguilar has a good one too. Has a good switch kick to the body, to the head. Has a good calf kick, but so does Lutz. Lutz like to get inside and start banging. Aguilar doesn't back down from a brawl. I think we're gonna see Lutz taking the front foot. If he starts getting hits, it's gonna be interesting. If he can push the pace, I think he can. He looks like a tough guy that keeps pushing. And inside, when Lutz starts banging with Aguilar, I think he gets at the edge because Aguilar is good when he has the distance, but not good when he's inside. So gonna be an interesting one. Lutz to me is a little bit better on the wrestling as well. I think Aguilar has the edge on the grappling. If it's pure grappling, I think Aguilar has the edge, but Lutz from top, he has the edge on Aguilar using the ground and pound, etc. So it's a close fight, guys. Could go either way, especially when they start hitting each other. You know, I think Lutz has more chances. Like I said, I'm going by decision, but like I'm putting here, it's a close fight. I'm actually betting Lutz because I think he has more chances on the KO than Aguilar. All right, but it's a very small bet. Be careful with this. And these are my comments here, guys. Like I'm putting here, Lutz has a little bit more chances on the KO. I think Aguilar has a little bit more chance in submission, but yeah, I'm going with Lutz on this one. All right. Katlin CHookagian versus Viviane Aruajo. Let me fix this one again. Okay, so Katlin CHookagian versus Viviane Aruajo. A very interesting fight. You know, both of these girls are on the rise to the top. CHookagian has more fights. You know, she's a tall girl, 5'9", long girl for the division, very good everywhere. She's not the biggest puncher, but she makes up in volume. She knows what she's doing there. You know, she knows how to keep her range. She knows when she has to shoot to defend the takedowns. You know, she's an excellent fighter, guys. I can say the same about Araujo. This girl is more compact. She's probably 5'5". So she's not. She has, yeah, her arm length is quite normal. So CHookagian has the height, the reach, but Araujo has the power, has the speed. You know, she's very dynamic on the feet. If you have never seen this girl fight, it's very interesting to see her Muay Thai style. She feints a lot, hit angles. She reminds a little bit Dominic Cruz in this regard. You know, she gets these false starts and she hits angle, that she kicks, then she can, you know, throw the overhand. And she jabs, she goes on two, she can shoot. So she's very dynamic. It's not gonna be easy for CHookagian to handle that. But CHookagian has an excellent jab. You know, she has a good time with that. She has a good left hook. So gonna be interesting to see if CHookagian can catch Araujo in this feints, or if Araujo gonna be able to hit so much angles, start using calf kicks, you know, exploding, and then making CHookagian worried about defending. Then she attacks at this time. So it's a fight. It's an interesting fight. It's not easy to predict. It's gonna depend a lot on Araujo, maybe, basically, because CHookagian, she's gonna do what she does. She's gonna stand the center, gonna try to jab. If Araujo gonna stay trying to trade technique for technique, she's gonna pick it apart because she has a massive range disadvantage. But I think Araujo, she's a smart fighter. She's gonna be able to make it interesting, you know, to explode at times, use kicks, and then wrestle a little bit, just take her down, get back up, you know. So it's an interesting matchup. It's an interesting fight. I have this one very close, you know. I'm going with Araujo. I think she has a little more chances just because she's faster, you know, she's more dynamic. Katlin CHookagian, but like I said, you know, she can win this one, you know, using her jab, her 1-2s. If Araujo gonna take her down, gonna be in the end of the round because CHookagian is a better grappler here. CHookagian can also take her down if she overcommits, you know. CHookagian can time her body locks. She's very good at this. So guys, it's a back and forth battle here. If you're betting CHookagian, I don't disagree. I would be careful though, because it's a like I said, it's a tough fight to call. Could go either way, split decision. You know, depends on which girl gonna adapt better on the fight. It's tough again to call because both of them are excellent. If you're betting this fight goes to the decision, I think the easiest bet here is to get this overs 1.5, 2.5. Even though this is probably gonna be expensive, I think there's little chance that they finish each other because both of them are very tough included. You know, so these are my calculations. Feel free to pause here, take a look. But basically, I think this goes to the decision, giving a small edge to Araujo. Right. On to the next fight, Jack Hermansson versus Edmund Shabazian. Interesting fight again. The veteran versus the young prospect. Shabazian at his best, he's excellent, guys. With his striking, you know, he's very dynamic with 1-2s, very like laser sharp too. This guy throws, you know, hard and fast up the middle. Has good kicks. You know, he's a very good wrestler. But Hermansson is a very tough guy. He's one of the toughest guys I ever seen. This guy broke his rib against Thales Leites and finished the guy by TKO after 1.5 rounds. It was just crazy, you know, to see how tough this guy can be. But Shabazian has the tools, you know, so does Hermansson. So it's a close fight. Could go either way. It would depend actually a lot if Shabazian can adapt and can basically fight a smart fight, you know, if he doesn't guess against Hermansson. If he guesses against Hermansson, he's gonna get picked apart, probably gonna get finished. So Shabazin also looks like a kid that has the head in the right place. So it's a tough one to call. Both of these guys have lots of potential. You know, if you see about the rating, it's pretty much the same. I think Shabazin has better offensive striking, especially with the 1-2 and the head kick. Hermansson has more experience. He's not a bad striker. He's has good defensive striking, whereas Shabazin can get hit quite a bit. You know. So it's back and forth here, guys. Could go either way. I'm going with Hermansson by decision, but by a 10 margin, you know. I'm gonna be betting Shabazin. No, actually this one I'm passing. I'm sorry. So if you caught Shabazin on an early market, he was at plus 160. I think was a good bet at that point. Now he's like plus 140 at the time that I'm recording this. I'm gonna be passing. You know, I want to see if Shabazin actually gonna show up. You know, but I would like to take some prop bets here, guys. I think. Probably Hermansson by decision or even Shabazin by decision may be interesting because Hermansson is tough even though Shabazin has good striking. It's gonna be tough to finish Hermansson. Alright, so these are my calculations here. Yeah, it's back and forth, guys. And yeah, actually by my calculation I went with Shabazin, so I don't know, probably I twisted my head here. But either way, guys, it's a close fight. I think it's a very tricky one to bet. Alright, it's gonna depend a lot if Shabazin actually shows up. On to the next fight, Tony Ferguson versus Beneil Dariush. Another interesting fight, guys. We're gonna see whether Ferguson still has the fire, you know. Dariush is gonna bring it. Both of these guys are very well-rounded, you know, especially Dariush, you know, because Ferguson is a guy that he's super tough to deal with because he has a crazy cardio, you know. This guy is very tough, keeps pushing the pace, you know. He can do a little bit of everything. Especially on the offensive part, he's super dangerous, you know. Defensively, he gets hit quite a lot, you know, but it was not a problem for him up until his last bouts, you know, because he was not getting KO'd, but then, you know, the age is coming, he has been so many wars, so it's tough to keep, you know, fighting like that for the entire career. But I don't know, guys. If Ferguson, again, this guy is he's pretty, you know, crazy in a good sense that he doesn't care much, he's gonna come for war. So it's going to be interesting, it's going to be a close fight if Ferguson comes at his best pushing the pace, because Dariush, when he's in the front foot, striking is excellent, but when he starts getting hit, he doesn't react too well. It's not that easy to hit him, but when he starts touching his chin, he kind of enters brawls and keeps getting hit, you know. He doesn't have a bad chin, I think people think that he has a bad chin. I don't think so. I think he enters a brawl and he gets a little bit disoriented, so he hits too many shots when this happens, you know. So he has a difficult time not to brawl when he starts getting hit. This is his problem, in my opinion. You know, but still, excellent grappler. You know, knows what he's doing in the cage. Has the great game plans. You know, knows when to use what. So it's gonna be a very interesting fight. You know, if you guys gonna see by my calculation here, Dariush is a small favorite. You know, but I think it's quite tough to bet this one. You know, if you're gonna force me to bet, I would go Dariush. But I'm not ruling Ferguson totally out of this, you know. Probably Dariush by decision is the best bet because Ferguson actually, in his last bouts, he brought a more elusive style, tried not to get hit too much. If he does like this again, he's gonna probably lose a decision to Dariush. I think it's the most likely scenario is that Dariush gets this by decision. But again, if Ferguson brings it, he starts pushing Dariush, starts landing, has a chance for the KO. You know, it's a tricky one. But yeah, these are my calculations, guys. So again, could be either way, basically, you know. So feel free to pause here, take a look at this, think towards your time. So on to the next fight, Shane Burgos versus Edson Barboza. Give me a second here. All right, so between Shane Burgos versus Edson Barboza, excellent fight, guys. It's a very tough one to pick. You know, I was a bit back and forth here. Ended up going with Burgos just because I think he's bigger, he's tougher, he knows what he has to do here, and it's pretty much his style, what he has to do against Barboza. But Barboza can win this hands down, you know, so it's a tricky one again. Burgos, he has offensive style, you know, he's primarily a boxer there in the cage, 1-2s, left hook to the body. You know, pushes the pace hard. This guy is a giant for the featherweight division. You know, I think to me, he has like welterweight size. So ridiculous, this guy, how big this guy is, how strong. Barboza, on the other hand, he was not a small lightweight. You know, he's a very big flat featherweight himself, tall, long. You know, very explosive. So guys, both of these guys have the style to beat each other. Burgos gonna try to be on the front foot, try to jab, use the straight punches, the hooks to the body, get inside, make it like an ugly fight, use his power, his size. Barboza gonna try to leg kick him, use the straight shots, get the 1-2, use the kicks, shoot if he overcommits. So gonna be an interesting fight. Honestly, guys, I don't like Barboza much as a featherweight. I think he's probably cutting way too much because he had a stronger output when he was a lightweight. He had to lower his output a little bit. He got some disappointing losses. Even though the fights that he lost, they were very close. I think he didn't show up at his best. I like it a lot when he was in the lightweight. Probably he was younger at that point too, so it's difficult to tell if it's just the weight or the age too. But I think Burgos at this point has basically, more chances to survive, keep pushing the pace. I think Barboza, when he starts getting hit, he's gonna find trouble, He wears a lot of damage too. So I have these X factors playing out more than anything because, like I said, both have the style to beat each other. I have Burgos as a small favorite, as the bookies have, so I put some small bet on Burgos. I like to bet Burgos by decision as well, even though he could KO Barboza. But it's tough, guys. It's a tough one to pick, tough one to bet. Anything could happen. Barboza can edge him on a decision as well. Because but Barboza can also KO Burgos because Burgos, the problem with this guy is that the chin is up, the hands are by his waist. He doesn't pull the jab back to his chin, so Barboza can counter with the overhand with the spinning kicks. So there's a chance that Barboza also gets a flashy knockout here. Like a highlight reel type of thing again. Because like I said, Burgos gets hit quite a lot. He doesn't block the shots. So pick your poison. I'm going with Burgos. Probably the best is to stay away from this fight. I ended up going a tiny bet on Burgos. Just quite curious on it, to be honest here. But it's gonna be an interesting fight. I have this going to the decision because both of these guys are ridiculously tough. But on the round 3, they have a good chance to finish each other because they both gonna start getting tired. We're gonna see Barboza with the spins. Burgos trying to push the pace. So gonna be a war from the second probably. So gonna be very interesting and cool fight to watch. On to the next fight in the main event. Leon Edwards. No, not the main event. Sorry, there is the co-main event. Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz. It's gonna be an interesting fight, guys. I was thinking, okay, Edwards is a lock type of thing. I thought it again, even though Edwards is a strong favorite. Because he has the wrestling, over Diaz. But I wouldn't sleep on Diaz if I were you, And the reason is this guy, he doesn't have that many fights, He's basically always the same as he always was. But it's not easy to deal with him. Edwards is taller, but the range is quite similar. And Diaz, he has this style where he keeps pushing with the 1-2. He's pretty basic with that, with 1-2, and then with his long arms, he can throw the hooks to the body and to the head, But he does that in a pretty good way, It's tough to deal with him because he taunts the guys, he keeps pushing, he lands quite a lot, and he throws straight shots, so it's not that easy to stop as well. When you take him down, he's fairly easy to take down, but he's difficult when he's from his back because he has a good grappling, And the problem that I have here, and why to me Edwards is not a lock, Edwards is not the best offensively. He's excellent defensively, but offensively not so much. He's a guy that when people start moving to him, he times pretty well his strikes, but when he has to move forward, he doesn't do as good as he does when he's defensively. He's not the best offensive wrestler as well. He's a good double leg, but he times it when people overcommit on him. Diaz not gonna do that. Diaz, even though he's aggressive, he keeps his range, So we're gonna see Diaz trying to push the pace, Even though Edwards is a good defensive striker, it's gonna be interesting to see how much he's gonna be able to just slip and rip, because the volume is big. He can slip and rip at first, but it's not gonna be easy to keep doing throughout the fight. So guys, I'm quite curious here. Obviously, I think Edwards is the safest pick. But I'm quite curious how to be betting Diaz if people keep betting Edwards, Diaz from plus 500, I'm taking him. I'm taking Diaz by decision at plus 600. I think there's a small chance that he wins that. By small, I mean probably by decision here. I'm giving him like 20% chances. So Diaz by decision at plus 600 is pretty good in my opinion, you know. But Edwards by decision is the safest pick because Diaz is a tough guy, right? Everybody knows that. It's not easy to finish him. Edwards has a small chance to finish him by KO, but by submission, I think is a very little chance, you know. So, yeah, Edwards by decision, I would bet him at plus 100, something like this, you know. So, it's pretty safe to bet Edwards by decision, but it's even safer to bet that this goes to the decision either way, you know. Or even Diaz if you want to cover a little bit your bet. I like a little bit Diaz by decision, right? On to the next fight, and the main event, Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. Awesome fight, guys, you know. High level fight, I can say. Oliveira has evolved what he had to evolve throughout the years. He was always a great fighter, but then he rounded up his skills. He became a little bit bigger throughout the years, you know, doing a little bit better, avoiding the shots. He used to be a guy that carried the chin very up all the time. Used to get hit quite a lot. He fixed that in some sense. But he's fighting Chandler here, guys. Chandler is a guy that has a ridiculously power and explosive overhand and the left hook. It's money punches, you know. He times it very well. He's patient, you know. So it's gonna be interesting to see what's gonna happen here because Oliveira he still goes forward in the front foot, more like in straight lines, and his chin is quite up still. It's gonna be interesting to see if Chandler can land that overhand right and put him out like in the first round or the second. If not, I think Oliveira starts getting the edge here because Oliveira has good cardio. He's long, he's lean. He has the pressure, you know. If he gets Chandler down, he's gonna probably submit Chandler because the pressure is so big for the submission. You know, Chandler, he's a great offensive wrestler. You know, he's a great defensive wrestler as well, but not a grappler. So if Oliveira takes the top position, it's pretty much done. You know, so that's why I think Oliveira is a favorite here. But guys, Chandler, he's super experienced. This guy is, even though he's not tall. He's super explosive, has the power, you know, he has the wrestling too. Chandler can also, you know, try to avoid, keep circling, try to land the overhand. You know, if he cannot wrestle Oliveira easily. So Chandler from top, he has a great chances as well, with Oliveira is dangerous. You know, it's quite tricky for Chandler to take him down. But Chandler can play the top game, you know, try to land some heavy blows and get out type of thing, you know. So it's gonna be a very interesting fight, you know, gonna be very entertaining. Could be either way, you know. I think Oliveira has more chances as the bookies have, you know. I think Oliveira from the second round. If you want to bet this live, I think probably the best bet is a live bet on Oliveira. Because, like I said, if he takes Chandler down, it's pretty much done. And if he survives the first two rounds, also pretty much done for Chandler, you know. Unless Chandler gonna circle, they don't quite push the pace on each other. And Chandler keeps trying to hammer the overhand and Oliveira is weary. It's also a possible scenario, even though I think Oliveira gonna push the pace, try to, you know, make what he did, do what he did to Tony Ferguson. Basically, I think that's what Oliveira gonna do, you know. So Chandler by KO, it's a good bet in my opinion. You know, Oliveira by submission is an excellent bet. You know, Oliveira can also finish him by TKO, but I think Oliveira by submission is probably a very interesting one, you know. And if you can get these under props at these prices, I would also get. Alright? So guys, thank you for watching. I hope you liked this. If you did, please like, subscribe. Now I'm gonna just be showing real quick my Patreon if you'd like to support me. From the $10 tiers, I have the early releases, you know, plus this the odds calculation as I put here. You know, this helps a lot in my opinion because you guys know the real chances, at least, you know, if you trust my analysis, obviously. So it helps a lot for you to decide on your bets, you know. If you want to take the prop bet package for $15, you know, if you want line by line all the bets that I'm taking, this for $50 a month, alright? So, and new additions to this, I'll be also putting the lock of the night, you know, on the $10 tier, so it's make more interesting for you guys to know, you know, the safest bet, alright? And yeah, what I wanted to show is the results for the last event that I have as closed bets. You know, it was a show actually the weekend because we started off from PFL 2 where I cashed basically everything, even though I didn't risk much, you know. Actually didn't cash Jason Poney, like 0.05 was pretty small. So it was profitable on PFL. Then boxing I missed M. Talane, but I got Joseph Parker. I made some parlays there. So this is the line by line with the amount that you guys would bet. Like I said, Felipe Colares was my biggest bet. I had parlays with Colares as well, even though some of them didn't cash because of the other guy. So basically that was it. This was a quite tricky fight to card to bet. I ended up losing 1 unit with everything combined, but for the month of April I was up nearly 4 units. I can just afterwards filter this. So this is what you guys get, and everything's transparent. I don't hide anything, and what I can tell you guys that this is a winning strategy in the long term. Small losses, when I lose pretty much very small, and I win in a medium size, so that's what the history tells. All right, so if you're interested to support the channel, I appreciate that. All right, so thank you for watching. I'll talk to you next time. This is Sam from Rogerio Bontorin, bringing the best, most consistent and transparent betting strategy for you.